practice your breathing. Go, no, not. What I've heard so many people. I've been to some of the shows that they were talking about your breathing, and you go in. Do you go in more? Do you breathe in more slowly, or do you exhale more slowly? Which one is
depending which one you want to do? You want to get more energy, or you want to relax more? If you want more energy, you do fast exhale. If you want calmness, you do slow, long exhale.
See, did I know I was going to ask that question right now? No, but I heard myself gasping. I got to hear, like I finally showed up on screen. I got too distracted by my toys. It's always the accessories. I'm like, oh, I should wear those from my maternal grandmother. And then when I was a little girl, it was the thing to have 2 pins, like a bigger teddy bear and a littler teddy bear. Or like this was a match set of little golden lambs who wear little bows under their chin. It was, and then there were others that there were lots of girl cousins, and everybody would get these little duo pins. It was a thing. And I'm just like, guess I'm in a nostalgic mood. Now we know what I'm about. So that's enough about me for the next 50, 49, 48 minutes, whatever. I was very surprised because I don't remember which strings I pulled on that brought you into this date that Marianne and Trin are somewhat. Marianne and Trin, did you just find each other, just get connected, or is this a longer term interweaving? What you both were like, hi, and I'm like, this is a thing. What was that about? Either of you can talk, or both at the same time.
Yes, both at the same time. Here we go. No. Oh, I'm so excited that we happen to both be on this very call. Marianne runs the Alls Authors, and she can introduce herself about that. And it's just a wonderful collective of authors. And I was one of the very first Alls Authors back in the day. We've had a nice long run of including and featuring so many wonderful authors. It started as a 20, and it's now grown to more than 300. So it's really a blessing to see you today, Marianne.
Same here.
When you say back in the day, we know how many days ago that was.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Marianne. Go ahead.
Nice. It's been a while. We started out as Trin said, my partners and I, Jean Lee and Vicky Tapia, we thought we would do a 1-month campaign in 2015 to promote our books, which are all about Alzheimer's or dementia. And now we're celebrating our 10th anniversary, and we have almost 400 authors in our collection. Yeah. And Trin is one of them.
The expansions have been amazing. So I heard of you guys because I got on something that's called social media, World Wide Web. I stayed away from all of that stuff except where I had to in my job, or because I had teenagers and I had to know something that they were talking about so that they wouldn't smirk as much. So, Mom.
Right.
And I discovered this Alls Authors. So I'm going to say one thing that I realized is that the Alls, ALZ, has expanded to dementia, has expanded to, I'll use the word edutainment, and then you can tell me, no, not quite that. Has expanded to having podcasts and panels, etc. But what it is it's human beings who have said, this can't stop with me. I can't just keep this. And that each one has had to go through a lot of an emotional journey to go from knowing something to communicating it, to putting it together in a way that will be understandable to others, and then pushing publish. Is this okay? They've been gone for years. Am I dishonoring them by talking about the tough times? Is it okay if I tell people I'm not an expert, but I learned a lot when I was caring for, when I was working for? I learned a lot about handling dementia, about, I have dementia. Is it okay if I write something? Just all those. So the ALZ has become more than memoirs, much more. Yeah. So that was such a lead in. I may as well, even though Ani knows she's going to talk, because otherwise she'll have to send me, unfriendly emojis like she's gonna. No, she's been on my show before, and sometimes she just sends me messages. Hey, guess what I'm all about right now? And Molly is brand new. I can't be rude to her, like she's never, Trin. But Marianne knows.
I'm a great listener too, so I appreciate all this stuff.
Yes. So to let the rest of you know that Marianne had to figure out what I was about, because I was getting over my fear of camera. And I thought, hey, there's this thing called Giving Tuesday. Don't know if it still happens on Amazon anymore. But it's like, hey, what is our business giving? That was a challenge from some person I found on social media. What is your business giving? And I said, honey, between the two of us, we could actually put this organization on a platform where more people will go. So they've created a virtual library with one section, I'll call it section, 2900 or something, dementia. It's a thing. And people have something to say about it or whatever. And so they had to know what I was about. And I was just like, just come on the screen and talk. And they invited some of the authors that could make it. And we stretched it out to 2 hours. And Scott had it on Amazon Live, because if you have products that are listed in Amazon, and if they give you the thumbs up, you can do that. And so, and then one person just couldn't, the gremlins of technology didn't let them get in on it somehow. And so we just contacted them across the pond. And ever since then, I've just been tapping away on Peter Berry and Deb Bunt with Slow Puncture is the book. And then the poetry book that they were both so willing to just go, this is how our partnership is so great. He fixes my tires when we're riding, and I fix where the camera is going to be, or drive us to a local event where he can talk. And so she gathered, I keep forgetting. Do you remember just offhand, Marianne, the title of Musings in the Dementia Fog, something like that?
Something about walking through the dementia fog or something like that. I forget.
Yeah. So you look up Deb Bunt.
Yeah.
She is on LinkedIn, and you look up on Amazon Slow Puncture, and then there's another book by them.
Or you look on all authors, and you'll see podcasts and videos and everything.
Yes.
Great.
Oh, yes. Oh, you can look at All's Authors, ALZ. So since I've done a 9-minute introduction, I need to find the tape to put across my mouth. And Marianne, 10 years. Confetti.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, we thought it would be a 1-month thing. And what really happened is there were 5 of us in the beginning, and the 3 of us, me, Jean, and Vicky, became good friends throughout this month, and we found that we really liked each other. So then we decided to do this promotion again that year, 2015, in November, which is Caregiver Appreciation Month. So we did it again. And then the following year, we stayed in touch. And when June started to come around again for Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, I got in touch with them and I said, do you guys want to do something again? And they said, yeah, that'll be great. And that's when we came up with the idea of doing the blog, starting our own blog, which was allsauthors.com. So we had to have 20 blog posts, one a day for 4 weeks on weekday. So we thought, well, how are we ever going to have 20 people that want to write for us? They don't know who we are. But at the end of the month, we had more. So we said, well, what are we going to do with these? And we just said, well, let's keep going and we'll see what happens. And when we run out, we run out. Well, we didn't run out. We're here still. So we added so many more elements over the last 10 years. I mean, we grew our management team. We've had people coming in and out, doing different jobs for us. We've got a core group of 6 volunteers. Nobody gets paid to do this. We have a brand new website. We just launched it last year. It hasn't even been a year yet. But we have a podcast, and that was like a big thing we came up with, because one of the things we learned as we were promoting all of these books is that caregivers don't often have time to read. So that was like a dilemma. So we said, how do we get the information that they require without having to sit down and actually read a book? So we came up with the idea, why don't we interview all these authors we have and we'll do a podcast. So that took me a year to get that going. And then we naturally moved into doing video, because we were recording the podcast and they all came with a video that we didn't know what to do with. So a friend, one of the authors, came on board and said, can I make a YouTube channel? And we said, sure, go ahead. So we did that. And then we have the virtual events, of which we just did one last week. It was called The Long Haul, the long-term impact of caregiving. And it was with people who have cared for their parent for more than 10 years for what they thought might be like a temporary situation. And some of them went on for like 14, 15 years before their parents, passed on. So we wanted to interview them about what they learned from that situation and how it impacted their lives and what they could share with other people, so that, we're all about sharing information and tips so people can find different strategies to work for them, how to manage the illness, how to manage their life, all of the things that come up in dementia caregiving. There's a lot. And most people are not prepared and they don't know what they need to know. And I always say, everything you need to know it on day one. And nobody really knows much of anything. So that's, basically what we're all about. We did the poetry, as you said, this will be our 3rd year. We have a poetry event coming up on April 29th, National Poetry Month. Oh. And Trin was there, right? You're part of that. Yeah. Yes. So last year we published an anthology of the poetry from our first event, which went for 2 hours and was incredible. I was so moved with everybody's work, and it all comes from different aspects of care and different types of situations, different diagnoses, the different family situations. Is so much. And that was a really beautiful event. So we're doing that again. And for our 10th anniversary, 20th, I'm already thinking ahead. For the celebration, we're giving away, this is important for people to know, we are giving away 12 different collections of books. It's a 3-pack, one every month this year. And the winner gets to choose the topic. So if they're caring for their mother and they want Caring for Mom books, we will give you those. It's on our website, allsauthors.com. If you go to our homepage, you can see where you can enter the contest to win one of those collections. So that was something we're really happy to do. We do have a program called Custom Caregiver Collections, which is many, many more books that people can buy. And if you want your own personal library, and we curate it for you, meaning we know what the books in our collection, and we know if you tell us what you're looking for, we can help you pinpoint them. Like, right off the top of my head, I can say this, and people can find what they want really quickly, because caregivers don't have a lot of free time, and to spend a lot of time on the internet trying to find a book or on Amazon, might not know what you're getting. You're not sure if it's the right one. You don't want to spend money on things that aren't helpful. So we can help you pinpoint, what you're looking for. So please go on the website and enter the contest to win.
Okay, for anyone who's busy doing something, is it this simple? ALZ, alls authors, plural, allsauthors.com.
Yeah. This
All righty.
yeah. See what we're all about.
It's all there. It's all there.
Mhm.
Trin, you came on early. How in the world were you found, or did you find them?
Well, I had written my book, and who knows what social media came across my screen, but it was very exciting to join a group that's sharing these books. You know, when I wrote my book, and I did many years of private and public institutional care, and felt like I've got to write a book, and it's got to get into people's hands. You know, I worked for an agency where you had to have a diagnosis. You had to know where this place was on the 5th floor in the middle of the city. You had to be willing to walk in there and say, I need help. It was like, no one's going to ever find these books. Yeah. And so I spent that time in the agency doing what I could, and felt like, no, I got to get back to being out on the street, you know, get my book out into libraries, get them out and onto Amazon was kind of starting as a thing to get your book made into an ebook so people can find it. And I do sell, you know, regular good old hand copies of my book. And I've joined other books, written chapters for books where people are just really able to access what they need. You know, as I did the work of caregiving, I felt like, okay, here are people with dementia who still have a full life that they've lived, and how can I help people recognize who they still are, you know, who their essential self is. So that's been my work for all these years and now I'm back to practice, which I absolutely love. I do a session called Mindful Art. That's music, stories, and art experience, all these domains. Different people respond to different kinds of domains. And I have so many stories that come back. The people come back, the light comes back in their eyes. You know, you bring the best to them and they respond. They are still there. They're still themselves. They still have their values, the things that they love, the things that make them laugh, the things that make them chat and feel better all the rest of the week is what I hear from their partners. It's a shared experience with the partner who's caring for them. And I also, in the years that I've done support groups separately and done, you know, care experiences for people with dementia, I bring them both together. And it's a support group while we're doing music, stories, and art. And the caregiver can see that their partner is back, that they are shining, that they are singing, that they're chatting, that they're telling stories about quilts, because we're talking about quilts. And they say, I make quilts, and I made quilts for all my grandchildren. And they're there. They are not gone. And there are plenty of experiences out there where people can go to a support group. But I found that when I worked for this particular agency, that the greatest need is we both need help and we're at home together. How can we have a better experience for all of us? You know, including getting all the activities of daily living done without fussing and fighting and struggle. Let's make it more enjoyable by telling these stories of life and putting these stories out, putting photographs out of your great trips or when they were children, or, you know, the poetry collections that they've written, put them out on the table and read them every day. And anyway, I could go on a long time, but just, I love seeing people come back to themselves and also equally support the caregiver on this journey.
So again, for someone who's listening but doesn't see these great links that my hubby producer, D. Scott Smith, motivational listener, puts up on there, Trin's name is spelled Tryn, and it's Seeley, Seeley, Seeley. So Trin Rose Seeley, Seeley. And is that the title of your book, the links that have been coming up?
The title of my book is 15 Minutes of Fame. One photo does wonders to bring you both back to solid ground. Excuse me. Solid ground is the whole aim of anything that I do in any practice, whether it's I've created an app for people on their phones. I create these classes, I've written books, and it's all to reground people and create that solid ground underneath their feet again, that they know what to do, they know where they are, they're in the right place with the right people, at the right time, and they're okay, and they are valued and precious people.
If people go to Caregiver Heart, I believe it's .com, Caregiver Heart, no fancy spelling or pictures or numbers or anything, caregiverheart.com, could they find that information there, the 15 minutes of fame?
They can. There's a link to the Amazon ebook and a way to also receive the actual book in their hands.
And of course, she can be found at All's Authors.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. That is, what a present when it's been spoken. You need to know everything the first day, and you can't, even if you're an expert. I have heard them say it on this screen. I was an expert, but then it was my spouse, my mama. It was the patriarch of the family. And it's like everything went whoosh like that. So everyone needs a trend to come in and approach differently than what you've been doing. Because what a life rhythm of what they have always responded to. And to have someone else approach differently and go, there they are. They are still there. I can't imagine how many times you've seen people cry and just, and be overjoyed, unable to express. And just no wonder you keep doing what you're doing, because you get to see someone just, dance for joy or hug and go, wow. Everything that I've always done, everything that we've always done together, I thought it was gone. So I was the same way
making me
with
cry,
the grandparents.
Christine. You're going to make me start to cry here.
Oh,
It's absolutely the truth.
oh my goodness.
If this is our journey and we don't know how long this journey is going to be, you've got to have some bright spots and some strategies and some ways to lift that energy for both of you, and stop telling caregivers, just take a break, take a bath, take a walk. Like, you don't understand. This is full-time attention. So both of you put your feet up. Both of you look at an album. Both of you listen to music. Both of you have a cup of tea and talk about the good times you've had. It will bring you both positive energy and bring up the energy for everybody. Yeah.
So Lisa Fevick just popped in and said, happy Monday to everyone. She is in a different time zone than maybe everyone here. She is Trinidad and Tobago. And she is, I'm not going to say she's all about menopause, but if you need her to be, she can be all about it. Talks about, I'm reaching for it, menomorphosis, and just knowing that navigating this change and education helps, etc. So she's popping in to say hi, and she was part of my annual, it's been 2 times, but whatever, my annual Galentine's Day, the day of my show before Valentine's Day. Happened to be a Monday, or it happened to be 4 days before, and she was part of that. So I'm really glad that she's saying hello. And Lisa, you've had a chance to hear Marianne and Trin. Ani, I'm going around to you. I tell you, you've got a really good camera going on here. Did you like upgrade your equipment? Because you've been on my show recently enough that I feel like everything's, sharp and good. And
That's just my personality. I'm shining.
Background.
That's it. I don't know.
This is silly. Is the background a screen?
It's a background.
Yeah, it's really there.
I wish it was. I said last night I was in a networking event and they said, "Where are you?" I said, "Well, if my background was real, I would be either in south of France or in Tuscany, but I'm in Los Angeles." So it's still gorgeous. It's like today's supposed to be like 80 degrees. I'm not complaining. It's 71 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm loving it. Gorgeous sun through my skylights. So I'm so happy to be here and just listening to you ladies, except for Christine, all of you are very new to me. I've never met either of you, but just listening and me being a caretaker for my mom, who's, oh my God, patience. If you're selling any patience, I'll buy it because it is tough. Being a caretaker for her, it's, you putting out all those resources. It's so beneficial, saves so much time for people that don't even know what to do, how to do it. And, one of the reasons, and I love Christine, like I've been on a couple of times in her shows, me being a pain relief, I'm a pain resolution practitioner for 30 years. My specialty is not, I don't work only with people with the neurodegenerative conditions, but as a pain resolution practitioner that incorporates functional nutrition, especially genetic testing and analysis in my work, it's so interesting to see genetically who may have a higher potential of down the line having Alzheimer's and dementia. And the cool thing is what preventative measures you can take so you don't go down that road. Because genetics is not your destiny. It just gives you the foundation. These are the possibilities because of your genes. But if you take these lifestyle preventions, do these things so you don't have that systemic inflammation, or some of the preventative tools I teach to my patients is tongue exercises, because the power of the simple tongue exercises that stimulates your cerebellum, which one of the things it controls is your muscles, is your balance, is your movement, is like just sit and do some tongue exercises, a minute, 2 minutes. It's not that much, but you'll see the difference. And it's amazing, like what preventative tools we can teach, that it's simple, it doesn't take that much time, it's fun, and you feel the difference right away. Or teaching you, and then it popped into my head because I saw Lisa, and it's RD, she's a registered dietitian. And a lot of times her approach would be, let's look at the inflammation, because the base of every of those conditions is systemic inflammation. And so let's address your food. But one of the things that I see so much that people do not address is what can contribute to systemic inflammation, and is the histamine. How many people that walking around, especially now, spring coming up, I think in LA, we kind of bypass spring, went from winter to summer, maybe spring will coming back at one point. But so many people would have these allergies, seasonal allergies, which histamine is high. And if your body cannot degrade that histamine properly, then it's going to contribute to systemic inflammation. And then you think, well, I'm eating healthy, I'm eating all the healthy foods, the avocado, the spinach, the banana. Well, guess what? All those foods are either high in histamine or they trigger histamine release. So if you already have systemic inflammation, you have some type of allergies, sensitivities, and you're eating all these healthy foods, which healthy generally, but they contribute to inflammation, or you're eating the aged cheese and fermented foods because they're really good. They're prebiotics and probiotics. That kimchi and that sauerkraut, well, they all high in histamines. Now you're on this vicious cycle of taking anti-inflammatories, doing anti-inflammatory diet, but adding to your inflammation. So just educating, giving people information so they have a place to get that information, it's fantastic. So thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Wow. Well, you just, while you were talking, Tracy Shannon came in, also from Galentine's Day. And so, Tracy, if you're still watching, I think that Ani is absolutely right that doing tongue exercises is fun. So, Tracy, if you're still watching, or Lisa, if you've got your phone ready, you can take a picture of the screen, because Ani, you didn't know I was going to ask you to lead us in just a few tongue exercises, because we're having fun. We're talking on subjects that are organic and natural, and it's part of aging, and it's part of brain health, and it's part of enriched longevity. And if tongue exercises helps, I'm going to add it to my routine.
I do them
give me
when
some
I'm
tongue exercises.
watching TV. So the easiest way I start with walking clients into is you stick your tongue to the right, and make sure you're not taking your whole jaw with you. You're not doing that. And if you can, the same time, your eyes are going opposite. So if my tongue goes to the right, my eyes go to the left. And then you switch. So you can, if it's easy, for some people, it's very easy. You can do tongue right, eyes left at the same time. If it's hard for you, first you do your tongue, and then you do eyes left.
Okay.
And then you go tongue left, eyes right. And you switch. I usually have my clients do 6 on each side.
This is like brain health. Go ahead, Molly.
This
What'd you say?
is a good way to start your shows, just like as an icebreaker, I think.
I know, right? And
So
then
quickly.
you do 6 times, and then you go tongue curl down, eyes up, and then tongue up, eyes down. And what's so interesting is, and sometimes when I have the client do tongue down, I pay attention, because at this point with my patients, I'm sitting in the back of them, they're laying on a massage table. I pay attention if when they stick their tongue out, if it drifts to one side, that tells me that whole side of jaw and neck is tight, because the muscles are pulling the tongue to that side, which is like a really cool trick. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, there is a whole science behind it. It stimulates your cerebellum, but also the tongue is so powerful. I do a lot of tongue release in my clinic, where I put gloves on, go inside the mouth, release the tongue, the muscles connected to it. 5 cranial nerves innervate in your tongue. So when you do the tongue exercises, the tongue release, imagine all those cranial nerves, the vagus nerve, the facial nerve, hypoglossus, sphenopharyngeal, all those cranial nerves get stimulated.
Wonderful.
And they have a powerful effect on your brain function.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that someone who is not able to see the screen right now definitely sees that you have last stop, number 4, pain. And I just think of a train. I don't know if that's what you meant for it to be, or
no, but I love your analogy.
transportation. What did I ride on in New York? I got on a not light rail. something that took me to Liberty Park so that I could see the statue from the closest in New Jersey. But, last stop, it's like, woo-hoo, last stop for pain, get off of the pain train. It's like, and so here you are talking about things that I think the most that's ever been done with my tongue is for the dentist to squeeze it to make sure there isn't something in there that he feels or she feels. And and I've heard of vagus nerve. I've watched some of those, YouTubes where I'm like, I think I need to know about this. I think I need to tell people that I care about, watch this. In fact, I've sent, them to someone in my family that I'm like, this may help to relieve some of what we know is consistent in you, that maybe a therapist or other medical or counseling or whatever has not brought up. And I definitely have gone in for different kinds of pain through my years, and nobody watched if my tongue was drifting. I mean, that sounds like something after a stroke, left side neglect and things like that. So this is just fascinating. Last stop, number 4, pain, and it was .com. Yep. Okay, we're pretty. And then you also have number 5, body pain hacks. And people love that. I just give me something that I can try differently. And then you talked about the histamines. It's like, yes, it's so healthy, but not for you with your condition or the sensitivity that has arisen and, used to work, not, it's actually aggravating. That is amazing. Ani, can people contact you, or do they have to live in Los Angeles?
Oh, no. That's the beauty of it. They can contact me. I do Zoom sessions where I teach people self-help techniques. I've been traveling, me since last May. I have been traveling the world. I'm Janet Jackson's massage therapist. So I did her world tour. I just got back home 2 days ago. And then mid-May, I'm going back on the road again. And so I love it. But in between, I love to hop on, shows like yours. That's why I'm like, I have all this, like, this is my 3rd event today, Zoom. I was on a couple of other podcasts, and I have 11 o'clock doing another podcast. So I'm trying to get different things just to share the message. People need to know what's out there, what's available, and maybe what I teach is going to work for you, maybe not, but at least you know what's out there, what's available.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yes. Molly, 12 minutes. And this is, I could take, this sticky note here. I was drawing some stuff on it. And just go, No, it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick. Molly.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You were about to say something and then just continue.
Okay. I mean, I also appreciate all of the feedback too. I like that this is a conversation, because I kind of, I was listening to everyone, scratched my initial, what I was going to say. And just wanted to base it on a few things that everybody said. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for a while, and the different exposure that I've had on my path, and someone mentioned, exposure leads to action. I don't know if those were the exact words that someone on here said earlier, but that is very relevant for me. I worked in a CICU for 6 years at the Hospital University of Pennsylvania, and I saw all the decisions that families had to make, and the repercussions and the outcomes of those decisions, and how complex they were. And that ultimately led me to palliative care instead of staying in the interventional, world. And I did home palliative care, and that's where I was really introduced to caregivers and all that they do. I had the privilege of being in people's homes and advocacy in everything that family caregivers do, and knew that with that exposure, that was, my path. And so I worked for the Rosalind Carter Institute for Caregivers on a project as a nurse coach, and then moved on to a company called Health Advocate that basically provides, and there's a clinical department, there's all different departments, and it's a holistic, basically a holistic outlook of navigation through our healthcare system, advocacy, benefit support, claim support. We have EAP, work life. And last year they put it out there that they want to try to create something to help working caregivers. And I was like, hell yeah, this is my thing. So I was able to lead and create and build a comprehensive caregiver support program. And what we did was, bring experts in from all of the fields of Health Advocate, and create a program for working caregivers. So there's a nurse coach at the lead who has experience with palliative care, caregiving support, dementia education, all of these things. And we have Medicare Medicaid specialists, we have a financial and legal consult, we have work life, EAP, counselors, and they're all on our team, and it is an add-on to benefits provided by employers. So the employees have this access. And it's just been a wonderful kind of culmination of my experience, my personal experience, and my experience as a nurse in these fields. It's just been so wonderful. And I am a community educator for the Alzheimer's Association with Rosalind Carter Institute for Caregivers. I virtually worked with caregivers caring for loved ones with dementia. And all these different exposures, it just made me know that I have to be a part of a solution to make sure caregivers aren't alone in this process, as a lot of you have, shared as well. And one thing I was thinking, Trin, was one of the reasons that I think this is so important is so that caregivers can put their feet up and look through albums with the ones that they love, instead of having to sort through resources and wean out noise and make all these calls for, all the tasks that go into it. It's not that programs can take away all of that, but there's certainly on day one, you can say, these are kind of the things to expect. And we know that it's going to go like this, and you need all of these, but we're here. We have these things ready to put in place. We are proactive in reaching out, but also reactive. So it is been a really wonderful experience just to see what also has come from the program. And as we've created it, we've added in caregiver training where, we go through communication techniques with someone with dementia. And that was originally not necessarily like a point of it, but as we were going through, I'm like, we have this ability too, like to really support caregivers as much as possible. And I think working caregivers and employers can be a huge part of the solution. I think it's one of the ends. If we can change, the awareness and the empathetic approach from employers, I think we can reach a ton of caregivers. I love the privilege that I had doing home care and being one-on-one. There's nothing like that. But I'm realizing right now through this opportunity that I can reach more caregivers. So I'm kind of putting that part on side right now. The in-person part I really miss, and I know I'll return to that, hand holding, being right there with the families and the patients. And but this is a really huge opportunity, I think, to be a part of the solution to help caregivers.
Wow. Okay. Bing, bing, bing. Zach Demopoulos and Selma Archer Esquire. Are those familiar names to you? Great.
Yeah,
okay.
Familiar.
Don't have to worry about doing an intro or anything like that, because that touches on the realm of the employer being empowered and informed and going, oh, not only am I more aware, but I know what to do, instead of just going, well, now that I have this, another thing on my plate, it's like, no, this is part of the whole thing of retaining your wonderful employees and growing a culture of, we're in this together. And you have nothing to fear to share something like this, because it is personal, but it is not, it shouldn't seem like it's a barrier to you either advancing or continuing to work here. It just shouldn't never come out that way. It feels like I have this thought that you were doing a shout out for a friend for Careful List. So careful spelled the regular way, list.com. And you, of course, talked about healthadvocate.com, which is just this multifaceted resource people, humans that understand. So healthadvocate.com, and also healthadvocate.com/generations. But Careful List, did you already mention that?
I haven't yet. And to say that the two links, the first one is to the program and gives an overview for Health Advocate Generations. Generations is the name of the program. And the other one is a caregiver survey that our company did. So just to reinforce the kind of why this is important. So they took a survey from 350 working caregivers, and, the stats are that people are working full time, people can't focus, people can't handle work and focus on, not that people can't handle it, it shouldn't be handled this way. The amount of hours that people are working and then spending caregiving, and how to, do all of that is not possible. And people have to leave the workforce, or they're scared, like we were saying, to share that with their employers. And I really think that's actively changing, and I'm want to ride that momentum and keep raising that awareness. Reach out to your HR, see what kind of support you have there, so that you can get the support that you need, because it's going in a way that these types of programs are going to have to be provided by employers. I'm sorry. So I think employers are recognizing that they should be a part of the change. My friend Katie runs carefulist.com, and it's just a great site. She was a caregiver herself, and she has a podcast now. And I just really enjoy her content and her friendship in this field. And she's a bit of a mentor for me as well. So I just highly suggest checking her out as well. So that was my shout out for her.
Very nice.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. We are at this point where I'm just going, now let's all take a stretch, and then we can really start talking to each other. That's what I want to do. But I know that each one of you, passionately, with expertise, with dedication, have something to do this next hour. So, surprise, husband, I'm actually going to tearfully say we are at the end of our slightly abbreviated hour, and wishing for more interactions. And I know that I do like to occasionally put out I'm going to have some when you go back to college where you graduated from, it's a reunion. So in those sorts of things, rather than people introducing themselves, they get to say, guess what? Remember when I said such and such on the show? Well, this is what has happened now, because I want to talk about Roseanne Corcoran, Marianne, because there's just so much. So I just,
she's an author.
Yes. And in a movie, and connected with free resources for caregivers. So Molly, you might want to get a hold of Marianne to find out what in the world I'm blathering about with Roseanne Corcoran. And then we're at that point. I promised, I'm keeping my promise. I don't want to. You guys, this is amazing. I'm always richer for getting to know you people so much better. So
thank you for having us.
I am
Thank
so
you,
grateful
ladies.
for you.
Thank you.